Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to EFA94 on this Thursday, June 25th. I want to talk about my first year beyond fasting, right? Into my first year of fasting. And when I say fasting, I'm going to call it the Jean-Guy's lifestyle. Lifestyle that I tweak based on myself, based on what I like, what I prefer, which I've said before, something that you want to do for yourself, right? I base my lifestyle on research. I base my lifestyle on intrinsic thinking. And while I was thinking it, I studied, researched that, the whole 9 yards. I tweaked over the last year. I've also followed the advice of a lot of experts out there, true experts, those that have walked the path. Remember, knowledge, training, and experience. Equality for all. I base myself on knowledge, training, and experience, and those that have it behind them. And there's a lot of individuals out there that have lost 100+ pounds, and they have great podcasts. They've never put it back on. They've educated like I do. And I got educated by them, and I'm doing the same. It's our duty to teach. So, Jean-Guy Bourguignon, if I look at my first year beyond, remember June 3rd, 2019, I started fasting. I've mentioned this before. I was close to, I balanced it at 340. The number I used was 340. But as you know, those that are in that range, you can play 10 pounds just like that, right? Your scale could be 348. Your scale could be 338, right? It's amazing how you can play 10 pounds just like that. So there's been days I woke up, like I said, 350, 348, and that kind of stuff. And there was days average balancing out 338, 342, 343. So that's when I started, was 340. Today, this morning, for example, I'm around the 246-ish mark, right? So almost 100 pounds. I'm hovering around 95 pounds lost. And what I've mentioned before is I'm not looking to lose weight. I'm just living a lifestyle. What comes from that lifestyle is losing weight, but I'm not looking to lose weight. When I started this, I did not want a diet. I did not want a fad. I did not want a trend. I did not want nothing. I wanted something for the rest of my life. So what did that 1 year journey give me? What did I notice in myself and my changes? Positive, negative, and I'm going to talk about phase 2. I'm entering into a phase 2. I feel it. I sense it. It's all within me. Our DNA, our veins, everything that makes us human, specifically your DNA, and I've said this before, the first human being that we all originate from Africa, and the first human being that ever created your bloodline is still within you. And if you both have children, you will never die because your parents never died and their grandparents never died, because that DNA is still within you. That chain of DNA, that whole system that's built you, follows you all the way through. And when you look at ourselves as human beings, we've been on this earth a hell of a lot longer than we've been alive, right? A hell of a lot longer. And I've said to people, whether you believe the earth is millions of years old, 1,000 years old, we've been around for a lot longer than we are DNA-wise. And you'll see from research out there, it takes a very, 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 very long time for human beings to evolve the different steps. So for us to have evolved to where we are today, obesity and et cetera, we've changed our entire system. We changed our system, right? The system educated us to change our own system. We've been programmed to eat 17 to 21 times a day. We've been given food charts of how we should eat and that kind of stuff that are completely not what your human body is designed to do. So that said, like I said before, I've removed the government food charts out of my mind. I've removed industry out of my head, the marketing, that it's all blah, it's all garbage, right? And I went after reality. Just like cannabinoid therapy, when cannabinoid therapy came to light, it came to light because of this, what I'm looking at right now, the smartphone. The smartphone educated individuals around the world. We started sharing information, and people started sharing information. Then children with seizures and people with Parkinson's and all those kind of conditions that cannabinoid therapy helped. Flash forward to where we are today, we're looking at microdosing and a lot of other fields. And that was thank you to the smartphone. The good thing about social media, about sharing information, because people are changing states, changing countries, changing everything, right? Same thing is happening with the intermittent fasting world. The OMAD world, which is 1 meal a day, your keto type world. And again, a lot of these things, people, they're not diets. These are, like keto is not a diet, right? 1 meal a day is not a diet. Intermittent fasting is not a diet. And remember, intermittent fasting is as old as time itself. You go into your oldest biblical books, you go into your oldest religions of any kind books, you go into the oldest of the savants books and etc. They all talk about fasting. So fasting is as old as time itself. They knew back then, okay? So whether through science and knowledge, etc., they knew back then how fasting would help you in your body. That they knew that information, hence they wrote it, right? And then we live in a world today where there's fat shaming. There's fat shaming, there's fit shaming, there's everything shaming. And a lot of that shaming is a reflection of themselves. And those that are honest with themselves, and there's tons of people that I've met in my life that are truly happy with themselves, right? And there are those that don't like others changing, and it is what it is. When I used to do all these diets back then, and like I said before, I'm not going to name them. I got mosquitoes here, but I'm not going to name those diets. But when I was doing those diets, it was amazing how many people would try to put food in front of you, and those that whether you're counting calories, whether you're eating a certain type of fruit and vegetable type diet, whether you were didn't matter, right? They would put something in front of you, and they said, no, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, I'm following this, I'm following that. This is healthy. It's a banana. It's a tomato. And you'd be telling, no, I can't eat that right now. Like it drove me nuts, right? It drove me nuts, and I look at my wife and daughters. My daughter and wife were vegans for the longest time. My wife is still very vegetarian. I did vegetarian for a year's lifestyle. We all love our meats, and my wife doesn't eat meat no more. Uruguayan. She's born and raised with beef. She hasn't eaten meat in a long time. And then me and my daughters eat our meat. So what I'm getting at with that is those that don't eat meats, and it's amazing. Like I could see my wife many times where people they'll put food in front of her. No, this is fish. No, I don't eat meat. Sorry, right? And no, this is chicken. Or no, this is lamb. I don't eat meat. Like if it breathes, have veins or blood running through it, I'm not interested. So when I look at all those diets and like vegans and vegetarians, that kind of stuff, what I found with intermittent fasting, the way I live, people don't tend to put it in front of me because they think I don't eat, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's because they don't plant it in front of you. They don't just kind of force feed you, right? Come on, it's an apple. It's only an apple. Come on, right? They don't try to force feed you. So that is one of the things that I found with this lifestyle. People tend to let you live your lifestyle. And when I'm doing diets and this and that, they try to change or influence you, right? I educate. I'm one of those guys that educates you. It's our duty to teach. And a lot of the things that is transpiring with my heart, mind, and soul, I like to teach that. And there's a lot of people that reached out to me and I've educated so many on it. But the one big thing I found is that you stop getting bothered. I really found that when people know that I eat one meal a day, 6 days a week now, one meal a day, that's what it evolved to. That's one of the changes. I started, remember, 3 eating windows. If you follow my podcast, I was 16/8. That's what I started with, 16/8, 16 hours of fasting window, 8 hours of feasting window. In that feasting window, I started with 3 meals, right? 3 eating windows, 11, 2-ish, and 5-ish, around 6, right? Around that was my eating windows. That eventually evolved to 2.5 meals, and 2 meals a day, then 1.5 meals a day, then 1 meal a day. And then for the last, I'm going to say, at least 3 to 4 months now, 3 months solid, I've been eating 1 meal a day. It just naturally evolved, and that's one of the transition. I naturally evolved to 1 meal a day. I didn't choose to do that. It just naturally evolved because I wasn't hungry. What happened is I started looking at food as when the analogy I use, I tell people, if your vehicle is filled with fuel, do you stop at the gas station on your way home? You don't. Correct? So I started looking at food like that. I look at food as fuel. And if I don't need it, I don't need it. And the other thing I noticed about that is that I look at food like it's not my eating window. So people like, I'm talking, I used to be the guy that like entire buckets of fried chicken, gone. I would eat that 2-hour drive to the house between business and pick up a bucket, and I would eat the whole thing, right? I could woof an extra large pizza just like that. That was that guy, right? Like triple patty burgers, 2 of them. That was like eating 2 chips for some people, right? So when I look at that lifestyle, and now the way I look at food, it'd be like eating, there's a coffee table in front of me, it'd be like eating that coffee table, and I'm not interested, right? And when somebody would offer me to eat that coffee table, I'd be like, I'm good. That's what happens. I look at food that way now, because I have people eating in front of me, fried chicken, pizzas, whatever. I'm not interested. Would I eat pizza and fried chicken? Absolutely. If it's my mealtime, absolutely. If I'm outside the 16-hour window, absolutely, because I have a strict rule of 16-hour fasting, which is, it's quite an easy lifestyle to follow. That's the other thing, if I'm going to say about that, when I said earlier, if I'm going to add to the, I don't eat, like I really don't eat, I don't need to eat, and that kind of stuff, so I evolved to 1 meal a day. All meals taste amazing. Every single meal tastes amazing. And then when I go back to the fat shaming and that kind of stuff, and how what I used to look like. My wife brought out some pictures the other day of my man, and I'm talking a year ago. I'm talking 6 months ago. The difference, even 6 months ago at Christmas time, we were in Trinidad, and my face, like you could tell. And a year ago, whew, right, my daughter's graduation last year, it was amazing. And honestly, that was the look of unhealthiness. And I'm going to do a video. I haven't taken off my shirt in public in eons. People that know me, every picture you'll see, I'm always wearing a shirt and that kind of stuff, because I used to be that guy. I used to be that guy in 1998, like 222 running marathons. I used to be that guy that used to teach hand-to-hand combat at 235, really fit. And then boom, I went all the way up to 350, right? And I stopped taking off my shirt and that kind of stuff. I used to be a proud guy taking off my shirt, especially my young doorman days. You know what I'm getting at. I used to love taking off my shirt and walking around like that. But then I came to that point where I covered myself, and that's whether it's you or me, that's me psychologically. It is what it is. I stopped being openly nude, and I used to cover myself on beaches, even if there were short sleeves or whatever. And then when I look at people that attack those that, and I won't name names, but stars and movie stars and people that lose a lot of weight. And right away, whether it's the fit shaming or the fat shaming, they just go after each other, right? Most of that is a reflection of themselves, right? It's a reflection of themselves, and there's a lot of anger out there and those kind of things, and people don't like you to change, right? People don't like change. And what I noticed when I was doing diets before and that kind of stuff, people would try to influence me on their diets, etc. But I've learned. I'm 54 years old. I'm basing myself on knowledge, training, and experience, and I've learned that this lifestyle is a lifestyle, not a diet. And two, people don't bother you, right? They do not bother you. And going back to that fat, and I'm looking at the fat shaming. When I look at what I used to look like, it was pure unhealthiness, like pure unhealthiness. Call it gluttony, call it anything. Like like I let myself go to 350 pounds, right? In the BMIs, and I don't follow that kind of stuff. I have the bone structure of a Neanderthal. I'm sure you've noticed these hands. I don't see them big, but everybody talks about my hands, right? But I have a bone structure, like I said, of a T-Rex or a Neanderthal, right? That said, I'm still not made to be 350 pounds. I'm not made to be like that. And the way I'm living is actually how I'm supposed to be living. So as a human being, I'm going to where I'm supposed to be. So what's happening to me inside? Phase 2, right? Phase 1, I transitioned from 3 meals a day down to 1 meal a day, 6 days a week. I've transitioned to enjoying my dinners with my family. I actually sit, so I have 1 meal a day. My dinner time is between 5 or 6, right? I try to eat between 5 or 6 p.m. every night. Try to, let's say 5 to 7, because in that window I try to have my meal. And I try to have it at least for an hour's period. I take my time, enjoy it, have coffee, have my wines, have my desserts, have my entrees, finish my salads, all those kind of things, right? I really take the time to enjoy that meal, and my family knows that. I said, 1 meal, that's all I have. I have 1 meal a day. I'd like to, could I just eat it in peace, right? And that peace is conversation. That conversation at the table, that discussion that we have as human beings. How do we solve issues or family issues, or laugh together and joke together and enjoy a good conversation over a meal together? We learn from each other. It's that time that I teach. It's that time that our daughters teach us, right? We teach each other. And that's what that's all about. And that transition, that evolved with that. Because of the way I live now, that actually naturally, organically transitioned into that. So from 16/8 to progress to 1 meal a day, evolved around the family table, has become, since March with COVID-19, etc., truly a family boardroom table, right? Back to old school, sitting at the table with the family, enjoying your meal together, make it a priority. Not everybody sitting on a couch or a chair or the counter or something. We eat together, we discuss together, family time together. That was a huge transition. It became a lifestyle. I went into it knowing this is going to be for the rest of my life. I knew that going in because of my research, because of everything I did. So, and that became very easy. That transition naturally happened. When I removed the processed food, again, listen to my podcasts, the previous ones. When I removed the processed food and the sugar, and I started into this lifestyle of intermittent fasting, remember, I took out processed food and sugars right away, right from the onset. When I took that out, that transition there enabled me to be as easy as 1, 2, 3. All these things that I've explained already, that transition. After that, Now, I'm going to say about a month right now. Remember I said it evolved to like 1 meal a day in the last 3 months. I'm going to say in the last month, there's been this hunger, this like, and I explain it as stamina chasing. I'm looking to stamina building. It's a natural process. You want to do push-ups, right? You naturally go and do a work. You naturally go and do anything to exercise, to grow. That hunt for stamina, it's really interesting. And then the other thing is you start talking to yourself. For example, in a good way. For example, I was going to pour myself a vodka on Sunday, vodka and sparkling water, and then my mind said, get a fat coffee. And then I answered myself, yeah, I should get a fat coffee instead, and I made myself a fat coffee instead. Beautiful day, gorgeous outside, but I made myself a fat coffee instead of the alcohol and sparkling water, right? So that process is happening in business, it's happening in life, it's happening in family, it's happening in anything productive. I tell my daughters all the time, there's a difference between busy and being productive, right? So that whole transition to productive all the time is your mind. It's the movie. There's a movie out there, Take a Pill a Day, and the mind opens up, right? Well, that is part of this transition. That's what starts happening. For example, I'm about to go and sit on a couch, and my mind tells me to do something else, and I keep going down that track of productivity. And in the past, I would sit down in my lap, even though it was productive, right? Typing and stuff. I'm actually maximizing my productivity because you're looking for that hunt for endurance and etc. So you keep going. The engine is clean. The engine, the valves are clean. That like everything is like just running at full tilt, right? And that endurance of going forward, that hunt to go forward, to be more productive, to be more everything. That's phase two. And this is what I tell my business friends, my colleagues. Like when I look at my lifestyle and from the previous diet, and people eat this, eat that, do this, do that kind of stuff. Then try to force food in front of you, and those lifestyles and diets, that kind of stuff, and people putting stuff in front of you, even though when you say no, I eat 1 meal a day, I'm good, right? It stops all that people putting a temptation in front of you, right? And remember, by removing the sugars in the processed food, that took away my temptation completely. When I removed that from my body and soul, and that addiction that we talked about in previous EFAs, and all the information data is out there, when I removed that removed all that other stuff. But those that followed diets, and previously myself, when people would put, even though it was healthy, right? Even though it was extremely healthy, you would sometimes eat it, even though it's healthy, because you're following a diet, right? Oh, it's okay, but again, they all fail. 95% of all diets fail. The 5% success out there is based on lifestyle, right? Remember that. The reason why I'm doing this as a lifestyle, 5% of all success out there, those that take it off and maintain it healthy. Remember I said that previously, and if I offend people, I'm sorry, but the truth is the truth. When I was 350 pounds, I was fat. When I was 350 pounds fat, I was unhealthy. When I was 350 pounds fat and unhealthy, my mind and body and soul was not clear. When I was 350 pounds or 50 pounds or 40 pounds fat, unhealthy, my mind not healthy and clear, and etc. My psychology, everything. You can see it in my eyes. You can see it in my pictures. And I'm going to show you that. You can see the difference in my eyes too, from it was then and to where it is today. And so if I was to recapitulate everything, there's transition. Right now, I'm in transition too. I'm in phase two. I feel it. There's something different transitioning. And I'm going to see it as it progresses, right? There's water fasting. There's a whole bunch of stuff that my body's naturally transitioning into. And if you look at history, you go back in time, you're going to see a lot of interesting facts on those that do long fasting, what it does to the clarity of the mind. And if you look at microdosing, what it's doing to individuals, when data writers and etc. Very interesting how it clears everything up and makes you a hell of a lot smarter, a hell of a lot brighter, a lot more insightful, a lot more thinkative, a lot more resourceful, a lot more productive, a lot more loving, a lot more caring, a lot more nurturing, a lot more family and community, and taking care of yourself and being part of nature. That's a good transition. Jean-Guy Bourguignon, EFA94.